They say you're too sensitive, that you overreact, that you should toughen up. Stop taking everything so personally. But they don't see what it's like to be you. They don't know what it feels like to hear one cold word and carry it like a wound for days. They don't understand how a glance, a tone, an unspoken tension in a room can ruin your entire afternoon. They don't feel the storm that lives inside you even when your face looks calm. You sense everything. You feel too much. And you've started to wonder, is something wrong with me? Because while others move on quickly, laugh things off, stay light, you sink. You ruminate. You get overwhelmed. You cry at music no one else even notices. You care more than you should. You think more than is safe. You hurt more than makes sense. And slowly, you begin to believe the lie. That you're just weak. That you're dramatic. That your emotions are a flaw to fix. But what if that's not true? What if feeling deeply isn't a failure, but a kind of rare strength? What if the world just isn't built for people who feel this much? And what if you're not broken, just more alive? This video is for you, the ones who feel too much, think too deeply, and ache in places no one sees. You are not alone. And you are not wrong. You're in a room full of people. Everyone is laughing. But you're stuck on something someone said an hour ago. A strange tone. A subtle look. Something they already forgot, but you haven't. You try to let it go. But it clings to you. It plays on repeat in your mind. Not because you want it to, but because you can't turn it off. You see details no one else seems to notice. You hear what's not being said. You feel things before others even register what's happening. And it's exhausting. You start to pull back. Not because you don't care, but because it's too much. Every room feels too loud. Every conversation feels too shallow. You want real connection. But small talk drains you. You try to explain it once. They laughed. Said you're too sensitive. So you stopped explaining. You learned to smile, to nod, to pretend. Because being real comes at a cost. And honesty makes people uncomfortable. So you carry your thoughts in silence. You carry your pain in private. And slowly, the gap between you and the world grows wider. Not because you want to be alone, but because being around people who don't get you feels lonelier than being by yourself. You've always felt different. Not better. Just deeper. And for a long time, you thought that was the problem. But then you discover something. A word. A framework. A mirror. HSP. Highly sensitive person. It's not a label. It's a lens. And through it, things start to make sense. You feel everything more intensely. Loud sounds overwhelm you. Crowded places drain you. Angry voices make your whole body tense. You cry when something is beautiful. You spiral when something feels wrong. You notice patterns others miss. You replay conversations word for word. And no, you're not overreacting. You're not being dramatic. You're not too much. You're just wired differently. Psychologist Dr. Elaine Aron coined the term HSP. She found that about 15–20% of people have a more sensitive nervous system. It's not a disorder. It's not an illness. It's a temperament. A way of being. You process deeply. You feel deeply. You reflect deeply. And that depth can feel like a burden. In a world built for quick reactions and shallow responses. But you're not broken. You're built for depth, not speed. You don't need to change your nature. You need to understand it. Long before psychology gave it a name, Arthur Schopenhauer gave it a truth. He didn't think you were weak. He thought you were awake. To him, life wasn't a journey to happiness. It was a collision with reality. He believed that at the core of all living things was something he called the will, a blind, restless force that just wants. Wants endlessly. Wants without logic. Wants without peace. And that will lives in you. It pulls you toward things. It stirs your desires. It makes you chase what you think you want, only to suffer when you get it. And suffer again when it's gone. Schopenhauer believed that the more aware you are, the more you suffer. Because now you see the trap. You see people chasing pleasure, validation, distraction, but you also see how hollow it is. You try to care. But everything feels like noise. You try to join. But your mind keeps asking, what's the point of all this? That question, that pain, that disconnection to Schopenhauer was a sign of intelligence. Not academic intelligence. Not facts and figures. But existential intelligence. The kind that sees through illusions and pays the price. You feel too much because you understand too much. And the more clearly you see, the harder it is to pretend. That is your curse. But also your truth. Schopenhauer didn't believe in fixing life. He believed in seeing it clearly and choosing peace anyway. He said we suffer because we keep wanting more love, more approval, more certainty, more control. And the more we want, the more we hurt. So what's the way out? Not through noise. Not through more achievement. Not through forced happiness. But through detachment. Letting go of what we can't control. Letting go of the constant chase. Letting go of the illusion that if we try harder, it won't hurt anymore. He called it denial of the will. But it's not cold. It's not apathy. It's clarity. It's saying, I see the world as it is, and I'll stop demanding it be different. It's finding peace not in outcomes, but in observation. In a painting. In a single note of music. In the stillness between thoughts. You stop trying to escape the pain. You start learning to sit beside it like an old teacher, not an enemy. You realize that feeling deeply doesn't have to mean suffering endlessly. You begin to choose silence over reaction. Reflection over explanation. Solitude over shallow connection. And slowly, you suffer less. Not because the world changed, but because you did. You've been told you feel too much, care too much, think too much. But what if the truth is simpler? You're not too much. You're just more. More aware. More alive. More open to the world's weight and wonder. Yes, it hurts. Yes, it's lonely. Yes, you sometimes wish you could just shut it all off. But that sensitivity, that depth, it's not your weakness. It's your gift. It means you see beauty others miss. It means you catch the pain others hide. It means you ask the questions most are too afraid to ask. And that makes you rare. Maybe even misunderstood. Maybe even rejected. But never broken. Schopenhauer saw people like you. Not as fragile, but as awake. He knew that in a loud world, clarity feels like isolation. That in a shallow culture, depth is treated like a flaw. But you don't need to change. You don't need to numb. You don't need to fit in. You just need to understand who you are. To stop apologizing for it. To build your life around truth, not approval. And slowly, you'll begin to see it. Your pain was not the problem. It was the path. The proof. The portal. To self-awareness. To meaning. To strength. You were never too much. You were just never in the right place to be fully seen. Until now.